It's one of the most fraught questions in America today. How aggressively should police move through the communities they serve? The issue rose to prominence during the unrest in Ferguson in 2014, and the recent police response to protests in St. Louis show the debate isn't anywhere close to being resolved. After Ferguson, then President Barack Obama weighed in directly by limiting the federal program known as 1033, which sends surplus military equipment to local police. Now President Trump has reversed those limits, stoking the debate nationally and here in Massachusetts. Adam Riley has more.
This is one of the rifles, one of the M16s that we got through the 1033 program. Completely stripped down. It's about $1,000.
But through that federal program, the Southbridge PD got 23 of these rifles for free. It also got a Hummer and 100 pairs of winter boots. Still, for Chief Shane Woodson, it's the rifles that really show how valuable the program is for cash-strapped departments like his.
Our median income is about, I think it's like 9 or 10 from the bottom. A lot of good, hardworking people that live here. But we don't have a lot of a very high tax base. We need this type of weapon system, but we could not have afforded it.
Asked why Southbridge police need this type of weaponry, Woodson cites several recent incidents, including one at a local school.
She was just a child holding a plastic, it was a stapler, but he had raised it up quickly to a young girl. She's a kid, 13, 14 years old, no idea what she saw. She thought it was a weapon system. We had to respond with our vest and with our M16s. You don't want to go into a school shooting situation where the person, the suspect, has an assault weapon and you don't.
Woodson applauded when President Trump reversed the limits President Obama had imposed on the 1033 program. But at the ACLU of Massachusetts, there's deep concern about Trump's move.
We at the ACLU see that within the context of other decisions that the Trump administration has made recently. For example, to pardon Sheriff Joe Arpaio. He gave a speech in front of a group of law enforcement in which he appeared to endorse police brutality.
Even before Trump took office, the ACLU's Cade Crockford says local police were embracing the use of military-style tactics in routine situations. Now she's concerned more access to military gear could exacerbate that trend.
It's not just that the police officer is banging down someone's door in the middle of the night to serve a search warrant. It's that he's dressed like a soldier. He's outfitted like one. He's maybe riding in an armored personnel carrier to get to that house.
It's hard to imagine the ACLU and Southbridge PD finding any common ground on this issue. But on Beacon Hill, a push for more public oversight of how police use military gear just might strike a balance.
We need to democratize this and create some sort of public discussion.
If a bill filed by State Senator Michael Barrett becomes law, local PDs could still get surplus military items from the feds. But first they'd have to make their case at a public hearing and then get the okay from elected officials in their city or town.
The idea is to be proactive here. We don't want to confront a situation where there might be an over-response by law enforcement because they're equipped like a foreign invading force.
The ACLU of Massachusetts is already on board.
It is critical that the public have a voice.
And even though he doesn't think equipment shapes the way police behave, so is Southbridge Police Chief Shane Woodson.
The public needs to know what we do. I think it's good that they know what we do.
Hey, Adam, good to see you. Let me be clear about this. So the Southbridge chief is saying that a kid holding a stapler mistaken as an active shooter is an argument for an M16?
Yeah, that's sort of an anecdote that cuts both ways. I think the point he was trying to make is that if they had a real active shooter situation there as opposed to a false alarm, they would need that more potent weaponry that they've been able to get. And by the way, I should note the rifle he was showing me is no longer automatic. They've disabled that setting. So it's one pull, one round, and you got to train for 16 hours before you can use it.
We should be clear here. Southbridge is an outlier to some degree. I mean, I know that in places like Boston, they're not embracing this notion, come on down
You're
with this
right
weapon.
that they're not in
correct?
Boston. There's actually a federal database that is really easy to use. We'll put a link to it online that tells you what every department in every state has gotten through this program. Right now, Boston doesn't have anything. There are some towns in Massachusetts, smaller towns in kind of idyllic settings, unlike Southbridge, that have gotten material that made me at least raise my eyebrows.
One last thing about Barack Obama. I don't remember well enough. He didn't outright prohibit the transfer to the local police departments, or did he?
He outright prohibited some things. So he said, for example, you can't get grenade launchers anymore. Okay. You can't get tanks anymore. And then there's another category with which he said, you can still get these things. This would be drones, riot helmets, riot shields, expandable batons. But before you get them, you need to tell me why you need them and how you're going to use them, or tell the DOJ. Now, all those restrictions are gone. Jeff Sessions says that they privilege superficial concerns over public safety.
Could a local police department get a grenade launcher now?
I think theoretically that would be possible, yeah.
Yikes. Adam Riley, thank you very much.